All right, word. Welcome to episode number 1, the inaugural episode of the Purest Play Podcast. Big shout out, my guy, Kev right here.
My guy. You already know what it
The
is.
one and only, the realest, my good friend, my good coworker. We in here doing this fresh off the shift, all right? But we going to get straight into it, all right? Episode 1 of the Purest Play Podcast. We talking about hoops here, all right? We got a couple topics here for y'all, all right? And one thing you're going to hear today is that there's guys, then there's guys, all right? So we're going to get straight into it, all right? We got for the first topic, Fire Series in the second round, San Antonio versus Minnesota, all right? Now, me and Kev, we've been going back and forth since the postseason started, right? Even before the postseason started. We've been looking at the standings for several weeks, several months now, all right? I'm a big Ant guy. He's a big Luka guy. We gonna get into Luka later, all right? But what's more relevant now is that we're recording this the day of Game 5 of the second round between San Antonio and Minnesota. The series is tied 2-2. All right, it's been a good back and forth. Minnesota took Game 1. San Antonio won the next 2. And Minnesota found a way to come back and tie the series in Game 4 behind an Ant 36 piece. All right, so we're going to get straight into it. And I'm going to ask Kev here, is Ant enough of a guy to come out on top for the Wolves this series and beat the Spurs? So talk to me, Kev. Is Ant a guy or what?
Ant is a guy, right? Ant's a guy. Is he a guy enough to get a series to himself like a Luka the Don? No, he's not there yet. I'm so sorry to say that. I don't think that Ant Edwards and the Wolves is going to have enough to beat San Antonio. I feel like personally with Ant's 33, 36. What he had, 36?
He had 36 Game 4, yep.
Yeah, 36. Wemby got ejected second quarter.
He did.
Not saying that's going to affect his scoring, but I feel like Spurs get out of there and scathe 3-1. Big game tonight. Individually, though, I think Ant has a great impact for the Wolves, but I feel like the Wolves has a good overall team because even when Ant did not play, Wolves was still winning by a lot.
That's fair, but I ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned Wemby getting ejected in the second quarter.
Yes.
A big thing about the Spurs that I feel about them is that their inexperience in the playoffs is going to bite them in the butt. And I think that Wemby elbow that he threw on Naz Reid, I think that was a prime example of that. So I feel like, do you think it's already too late for Wemby and the Spurs? Do you feel like they blew Game 4 and they had the chance to have that commanding 3-1 lead? And you think the momentum shifted? Or do you think that they're still good enough and capable enough to come back Game 5 at home and get a win?
I think that yes, Wemby is the deer in the headlights. I think the whole Spurs is the deer in the headlights. Let me say that first. But I said to Keenan in the beginning of the year, I feel like the Spurs have something, right? Keenan says, yo, they can't shoot. I agree, 100%.
And can I interrupt you there too?
Go ahead.
Game 4, they shoot 6 for 26 from the three-point line.
Yes, bad.
23%, while Minnesota shoots 10 for 27.
Bad.
So they shoot a similar amount of threes, but Minnesota's making 4 more threes than San Antonio. I think that played a big factor in that game.
So can you contest that Wemby ejection in the second quarter affects the game because he's not only just an offensive weapon, he also rebounds, protects the paint. The Spurs lost a big part of that, right, in Game 4.
Yep.
I think Game 5 at home, does he do the same mistakes? No. But the key thing is a lot of their role players is going to come to play tonight, I feel like. Now, can we say the same for Minnesota? Because Randall, we're not talking about Randall, a guy that you brought up in the beginning. You felt like Randall was better than a cat.
I think he's just as good, just as capable.
No, but you didn't say that in the beginning. You said he was better.
He's better than Cat?
That's what you said. I'm going based off what you said.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And I feel like if you look at Randall's numbers, I feel like nowhere to be found.
Now,
4 for 10, 4 for 5 from the free throw line. Good. 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 turnovers.
I hear all that.
Negative 26.
Minus 26. What's this game 2 you're looking at, right?
I'm looking at game 2.
Yeah, game 2 is nasty for everybody on the Timberwolves. You can look
Game
at
1 he had 12-2. Just to throw that out there. But
Game 3
but they blew him out, so
Right.
I can't.
Right. Game 2, 3, and 4, he's finished with 12 points. His shot volumes definitely went down since game 1, where in game 1 he had 21, 10, and 2. Shot 8 for 20, 2 for 6 from the three-point line. Made half of his free throws, but Minnesota still finds a way to win. And I think that Julius Randle's impact goes past the shot making. It goes past the field goal percentage, because this is a guy, and the reason why I compared him and put him over Cat in terms of this Minnesota team is because of his physicality. I think his ability to grab rebounds, his ability to defend on the ball, especially against offensive players smaller than him. He's more comfortable switching on to bigs. I think that was Minnesota's downfall in the past couple years when they had that Cat and Gobert duo. It was tough for them to play on-ball defense in that pick and roll if they had a switch, because Rudy can defend the rim, yes, but Cat is a lot of times out in no man's land having to guard those perimeter players. Julius Randle helps him out a lot more defensively. Now, his shooting has been quite abysmal. He's only shooting 37% from the field this series, but if you got 2 games on San Antonio and you told me Julius Randle is averaging 14 points on 37% shooting, I look at that as a win for Minnesota, because you're finding other ways to win games with a guy like Naz Reid, who's coming off the bench with 15 and 9, efficient. He's taking that elbow from Wemby to the jaw and coming back and still performing and finding a way to win. 6 of 12 from the field. He didn't even make a 3. He was +8.
So let's stay here. Let's stay there with Nas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does Nas get 15 plus tonight in San Antonio?
I think so. I
Okay.
think the matchups Nas gets, I think, first of all, even though they have Wemby, I think that overall Minnesota wins the size matchup, because when Wemby's out there, the next tallest player is a Devin Vassell, a Julian Champagny, 2 guys that can't hold Randle. So when Wemby comes out that game, or even if he's in the game and Naz Reid is in the game with the Julius Randle or Rudy Gobert, a lot of the times he's having a Vassell in front of him, a Harrison Barnes, a Carter Bryant, Keldon Johnson, guys he can body and get to the basket. So I think, he's comfortable finding his spots. I think that he's a problem for that San Antonio defense to guard. Now, do I think that Dylan Harper is a factor on the San Antonio Spurs? Yes.
He's been hooping.
Rookie. That 8 for 11 game that he had game 4, I was watching the game looking like, man, this guy's turning into a real star right before our eyes.
Yes, sir.
Off
the bench.
But what I'd also see is, and I know this is a gimmicky stat sometimes, but a -14.
I see the same thing.
I'm
looking at it.
A -14.
I was shocked.
24 points look beautiful, but a -14, what does that tell me? That tells me, hey, for every bucket you can score,
You're giving it up.
we can find a way to get that back. So these are the things I'm looking at where, yes, Julius Randle, his numbers look abysmal as a scorer, but hey, if he's shooting 2 for 4 from 3, if he's only taking 12 shots
And getting 12 points.
my concern is those turnovers, like you said.
And he's averaging what turnovers? He had 5. He's
Over
averaging
4, I
6
think.
right now.
Yeah, I think he's over
Right.
4 this series. It's not pretty, and I know he's capable of more than this, even though he don't have the prettiest game to a lot of people's eyes. He's a strong lefty that can give a lot of defenders problems.
Side note, too, though, Keenan.
Mm-hmm.
And Edwards went off 36 points. Technically only won by 3, but if you want to count 5, go ahead.
Yeah, I understand.
I
that.
think that the Spurs is going home very comfortable. All-Star got ejected, no excuses. We still fought hard. We were still fighting hard, and the player that we're not mentioning is De'Aaron Fox.
Right.
He had one bad game, and then after that, he's been shown why he needs to stay in San Antonio, and why you wouldn't want to trade him so fast and help him grow more young pups like a Dylan Harper and a Vassell, because they're all, to me, all the same player. I get that part.
Mm-hmm.
But this is why Wemby is so important.
Right.
Like, if I can start 3 guards and have Wemby in the backfield helping out.
Yeah, surrounded with shooters.
And mind you, Keenan, this is our first time ever touching the playoffs.
Right.
In
Right.
years.
Right.
Swept the Rockets or beat the Rockets. Rockets ain't really good, so we're not going to talk about the Rockets.
Yeah.
Minnesota is a very defensive team, and we're going punch for punch. Who has the more pressure? It's Minnesota. They've been here before.
Okay.
Right? They've been here before. They should know how to turn it on, when to turn it on, and there should be no excuses, right? But I feel like the Spurs surprised everybody 62-20
Yeah.
record-wise, playoff-wise. To me, unbelievable. I don't think nobody thought a Dylan Harper was going to give you 24 in the playoffs.
I agree.
I don't think Bryant, it might not have a lot of points, but he scores in bunches, and that's good.
Yeah.
For Sales doing his
He defends.
1-2. They traded Buddy, who did the Dennis Rodman hair color.
Yep.
Gave him to
Sochan.
the Knicks.
Yeah.
Now Knicks is in the Eastern Conference Finals.
They waiting for their opponent too. And before we move on to that Eastern Conference,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna ask you this: do you think the winner of Game 5 tonight?
Takes the series?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I agree.
I honestly think that it's time for the Wolves to pack it up. I think they lose tonight and at home. But I'll say this.
Okay.
Spurs win, Minnesota win, and it goes 7. I'm going to have to edge it to Minnesota only because of experience,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
But I'm still going to take the Spurs because this is the team I picked in the beginning of the year that I felt like, oh, they might go to the chip, and that's the only team really is giving OKC a run for their money.
I agree.
And another side note,
Mm-hmm.
do you feel like OKC is going undefeated in the playoffs? Hey, you know.
It's been impressive what they've done so far, but I think the league's too talented to go 16-0, even if you're sweeping guys and you're getting a extra day's rest and all that stuff. I think the league's too good, especially when you talk about the conference finals between Minnesota or San Antonio. Either one of those teams, I think that they've had enough success in the regular season against OKC where I've seen enough where I know that they can get at least one game. I think when you look at a Phoenix who just been in the middle of the pack all year, haven't really been able to take that elite jump, it's obvious why they got swept in hindsight. A Lakers, even though they obviously weren't at full strength, they didn't have Luka the whole series. Austin Reeves was even coming back from injury from, started playing Game 5 of the Houston series. Like, they weren't 100%. I could see why they got swept, but Minnesota and San Antonio, they've shown me more than enough. They're more than capable defensively to make it tough on OKC for a series. So I don't think they're going 16-0. I think that would be crazy. It would be super impressive, but they go 16-0. We're talking about OKC as one of the greatest teams ever. You know what I mean?
That never happened.
Yeah, exactly. So the Kobe and Shaq Lakers couldn't even do that stuff. So, but much respect to Shea. What he did, dominant. I mean,
Definitely.
they doubling him from the locker room. You know what I mean? They're willing to give up open looks to guys that are capable of knocking it down, and that just shows how good Shea is and how good he's been this postseason. And even last night, him having 35 to close out the series, getting doubled every single game.
And no J-Dub.
No J-Dub either. You know what I mean? And that's one of my guys. That's one of my favorite players in the league. I think that he could be a number one option on a lot of teams in the league, and they could be very successful because of his versatility. But you see what he's doing. You know what I mean? Guys are stepping up that, that casual fan never heard of. A.J. Mitchell, all this stuff. So they got too many kills on that team, but, it's only going to get harder for them. You know what I mean?
How about the young boy, though, that came from Philly?
McCain, yeah.
I think he fits very well with OKC.
That's a fleece.
And I think they got good off the draft. I think they built their super team.
Yeah, they're in the lottery again this year.
They built it with the Jets, the J-Dubs. Obviously, Shea came out. And honestly, I don't feel like people knew what Shea was when he was in L.A. I kind of did. Was I upset that he got traded for Paul George and them? Yes.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it bettered his career.
Right.
I mean, if you think about it, KD, Harden, and Westbrook couldn't get it done.
Yeah. It speaks
Even though,
volumes.
yes, you went up to against a young Braun, D. Wade, and Bosh, but they also had a young KD, Westbrook, and Harden, who was a no-show. And maybe it could be an episode 2 about Harden and Luka.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because,
hell yeah.
you do a lot of comparison
Yep.
about Luka and Harden.
For sure.
And I also feel like that Philly dropped the ball trading that young man and keeping Embiid.
I agree.
It's another hard take, but we can move on. We could talk about. You want to talk about the Eastern Conference?
Yeah, let's talk about that New York Philly series. Speaking of Philadelphia and Embiid, definitely some good offseason topics to talk about with the Luka and Harden, Embiid's future, all that stuff. But I know that you told me that I said Julius Randle was better than Cat, and I could stand on that. But a week or two ago, you was just telling me that Brunson wasn't a number one option. He's not looked at. You didn't view him as a number one option. And this was going into the Philly series when it was 0-0.
Yes, sir.
We had a lot of comparisons between Brunson and Maxey. They both have amazing seasons this year. Maxey averaged about 28 and 6. Brunson was averaging about 26 and a half and 9. You know what I mean? So you took the side of Maxey being, the more viable option and the more explosive option. And I took the option of Brunson because of his experience and what he's done in the playoffs before and the consistency of the Knicks making it past the first 2 rounds,
Yes,
you know what
sir.
I mean, the first couple rounds. So I want to hear your thoughts on that whole series and see if your outlook has kind of changed on Brunson, not only for this series but going forward.
So, first of all, I'm a Mavs fan. I knew Brunson, Villanova. Brunson always been a guy. I'm saying I'd never seen 6'1", 6'3", and under guard take a team to the chip. Yes, you could say Stephen Curry. Okay, cool. Stephen Curry also had a Draymond Green who is getting disrespected out here a lot lately.
That's true.
Is he an offensive juggernaut? No, he's not. Is he a playmaker? Is his IQ one of the best IQs in the game? Yes. Y'all keep talking about Steph Curry, but you got to think about it. I feel like Draymond Green made a Steph Curry and a Klay Thompson. Why I say that? Because he's bringing up the ball. He has 2 lethal shooters on the wings. He's making the small plays. Now, is everybody perfect? No. Did he run KD out the Warriors? I think so.
Hell yeah.
Did he run Jordan Poole out the Warriors? I think so with his mouth. Yes. But we're not going to knock his talent, though. There's no 4 chips. I think Steph Curry gets 4 chips without Draymond? No. Because we're not going to act like when Draymond got suspended against the Warriors were shitting in their boots.
That's a fact.
So let's
That's a fact.
stop knocking Draymond Green, please. And he's a Hall of Famer.
That's
He's a
a fact.
4-time champion. So, okay. Brunson. Back to Brunson. Brunson is a guy, right? I love Brunson. But obviously, since the Atlanta series, it shifted a little bit, correct? It went from dribble, I'm trying to find a shot, to now we're swinging, we're going inside out. So now the offense is running through Cat. That's all I was saying.
That's
But
true.
do I feel like Brunson, am I going to take Brunson over Maxey? I'm going to take Brunson now off the simple fact of the experience. I feel like the Knicks, yes, he's the number 1 option. He's that guy. But he's a liability as well. Because who is he going to guard on the other side of the court? How many times New York can protect him on defense?
I think that they can protect him a good amount with their versatility and the way that New York has built around him. Getting to Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, 3 of the top perimeter defenders in the league. I think the bigger question defensively is Karl-Anthony Towns in terms of the motor he's going to get. Offensively, he's been great. You can't say much about Cat. Defensively, I think that if it wasn't for the Knicks' hot shooting throughout the whole series against Philly, 3 out of the 4 games, Cat was in foul trouble. Cat played let me look at this so I'm not lying to y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Cat was in foul trouble for a lot of these games, and it wouldn't be until a third quarter offensive spurt where by the end of his games his numbers would look respectable. But I mean, we're talking about a guy who had 4 fouls, 5 fouls. This guy played 20 minutes, 27 minutes, 26 minutes, and another 20 minutes. Now, I get it. 2 of these games were blowouts, being the first and second game where he played 20 minutes. But a 6-point win, a 14-point win, you're only playing 27, 26 minutes. That's telling me that, hey, you're not finishing the first half, and by the time the second half is starting, you're not playing your normal rotation throughout the third quarter. So you're not able to make an impact until late in the third quarter or early in the fourth quarter to kind of, get that offense going. But like I said, I don't have a problem with him offensively. It's that defense. So when we talk about Brunson, yes, he's 6'2". A good offensive player would want to, get the screen and get the switch on Brunson and let him do his 1-2. But I think the reality is that Brunson puts in a genuine effort to hedge well, to make it tough on defenders, to get to their spot. He'll shave a couple seconds off the clock by bumping that guy, by pre-switching, do whatever they got to do. And even he said it before, he's a below-the-rim protector, meaning that, hey, I'm willing to take a charge. Hey, I'm willing to get in here and take an elbow to the face. I'm willing to bump a guy to, even if I got to foul him, I'm going to make it tough on you rather than making it feel like, hey, my matchup's going to get comfortable scoring on me. So I don't have a problem with Brunson defensively. Of course, every guard, like you just told me, we were just playing in a corporate basketball game, right? And we ended up getting washed, right? We didn't play that well as a team. We didn't have the firepower needed and all that stuff. We'll talk about that later. But one of the games, I had 31 out of our 57 points, right? Mm-hmm. And this guy being a Mavs fan, a Luka fan, he told me after the game, he's like, yo, you see, when you got to carry the load offensively, how tough it is to be the same guy, have it to defend and put in an effort, at some point you're going to need an effort from the other guys to contribute if I'm putting up majority of the points. If a Brunson's putting up majority of the points, if Brunson's averaging 29 and 6, we're not bashing you for whatever you do defensively at the end of the day.
No.
At the end of the day, we got to find ways to work around you and make an effort to consolidate whatever you got defensively. And Cat's a big reason for that, being being a rim protector. And luckily they got Mitchell Robinson, who, when Cat does get in foul trouble,
he can hold it down.
Yeah, they got a guy with even more energy to him that can rebound just as well as him, can set picks, roll to the basket. So I don't have a problem with Brunson defensively, but I think he's capable of taking them to the chip. Now, winning it, that's different because OKC's in the way. But Brunson could easily win a chip, man. I can see it. I can see it.
Brunson, like I said, Brunson's a guy, right? He's a guy. I think New York, they spent a lot of money, and I think they spent their money well. Now, because we have said that in the beginning of the season, no, because everybody was looking for where the hell is Mikal Bridges at.
Right.
Right? Mikal Bridges has been showing promise in the end of the season. But I would say, when it comes to Mikal Bridges, was he ever one of those type guys that's worth 100 and something M's?
No. And I think, and I don't want to hate on Mikal, but there's going to be a lot of players like that over the next couple seasons that's going to look like that, where that contract's going to be a lot more than what their value's bringing. You know what I mean? A lot of it's because the salary cap's going up, but it's also just the reality of the situation. But he was able to get that contract because of a guy like Brunson who took that pay cut of, hey, give me $100 million less so we could get the guys we need to win. Now, is he getting some other shit on the back end that we may not know about? We don't know. That's not, that's not our job to decide. But regardless, that's the deal he cut out. That's what the Knicks are making it work, and we got to respect them for that. And they're waiting for their opponent in the Eastern Conference Finals because of stuff like this. You know what I mean? So shout out Brunson, shout out the Knicks.
Shout out the Knicks. So let's talk about the opponent that they swept.
Right.
What do we do with the Paul George that's worth 100 M's? What do we do with the Embiid? What does Philly do?
Man.
That's too much money for 2 guys.
They're in the pickle. Because who wants them? I was thinking that the other day. I'm like, Who would want a Paul George who's about to be 35, making $50 million a year, who's talking in the press conference talking about, I got to get my explosiveness to the basket back. I mean,
quote unquote, if he could get his explosive back.
He don't even know.
He doesn't know if he could.
He's trying to figure that out in real time.
Yes, sir.
He just got through the second round of the postseason. These are things that are like, man, your value is just dwindling and you're making all this money. Like, I mean, I don't know how much of it's guaranteed. I don't know if all of it's guaranteed, but it's a tough situation to be in if you're Philly. Same thing with Embiid. I'm hearing his Supermax is about to kick in. He's about to be making $60 million a year for the next 2-3 seasons. So it's like Embiid's probably a more tradable piece because he's younger, even though the injuries is more of a concern. But I definitely think that they need to get rid of guys like Embiid and George and really just sacrifice for age and potential. You know what I mean? Don't worry about getting the talent back and getting the big names back in order to win a championship. They need to focus on Maxey being 25, on Edgecombe being 19, 20 years old, and build off of that, knowing that those two are the core and that they were honestly lucky to even be in the postseason, especially lucky to win a series. Of course, Boston did what they did, and they didn't show up those last couple games, but you know, give credit to the Sixers for being able to compete and win a series. But that right there should show you that, hey, though that backcourt is the guys we need. You know what I mean? Anybody can catch and shoot like a Paul George. No disrespect to Paul George. He's a one-on-one kind of player, but he's past his heyday. And Embiid, we don't need that kind of volume no more. We don't need to play through you no more. I thought a lot of the times the reason why they got swept is because Maxey still had to take that back seat to a guy like Embiid. Yes. He had to run off those dribble handoffs where he don't even get the dribble handoff. Embiid just fakes it, and then he goes into the one-on-one to clear out. Stuff like that isn't as pretty as it once was no more for Philly. So I think that they need to look for trades. I think a team like Charlotte might get a guy like Embiid just to have kind of a solid rock of a scorer.
I think Embiid's too slow for Charlotte. But let's stay on Paul George, though, right? Because he had 150 M's, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That they paid him.
That contract's ridiculous.
And first game for New York, 27 minutes, 42%, 25% from 3, 7 points.
Yeah.
This is a $150 million guy.
They signed him in July of 2024 to a 4-year extension worth $211 million in 2024.
Shit, my fault. So
wow.
I'm wrong, right?
Wow.
And this is what we're getting. Mind you, he was hurt some of the years, right?
Yep.
Second game, 38 minutes, 33%. So his percentage is going down, right? He had more points. He had 15.
All in the first quarter, mind you.
Okay. So, third game, 19. So he didn't even hit 20. Not one game in the sweep. And we're paying these guys damn near 200 and some M's, right? And I'm not knocking Paul George, who's a great player. A lot of these young players' favorite player now because of the style. Yes. He got a smooth game. Now, I'm going to stay on that type of caliber, right? Mm-hmm. They're saying that Austin Reeves is up to get paid 200 and some M's. Do you pay that?
See, that's another good question as well.
I'm just trying to stay on topic.
Especially when you got a guy like Luka, who, that's the guy, right? That's the guy. He's getting his money already. Mm-hmm. He signed that extension last season during his first year in L.A. Austin Reeves being 27 years old. Obviously, he had the calf issue. He had the oblique issue. Him and Luka have a great chemistry of being able to be lethal scoring threats and be able to handle the ball, make plays simultaneously. Mm-hmm. I think what's really holding them back is the Bron contract of him making $50 million. Obviously, I think it's expiring this year. He'll have that chance to be a free agent. But I don't think Austin Reeves hurts you as bad as, an older guy like Paul George, because Austin Reeves is 27, so you sign him to a 4 or 5 year extension. He could still be 31, 32, and he'll be good enough to sign another max extension. You know what I mean? At this rate. So I don't mind that. I think for the Lakers, it's more so building a more legit front court, because I think that DeAndre Ayton absolutely capped their ceiling this year. And
Absolutely, he needs to be in overseas.
yeah,
He needs to play in China somewhere.
guy's delusional.
He can't get a rebound. He's 7 foot. He's a future. He was a number one pick
In Luka's draft
in Lucas draft, right?
in
He was
2018.
a number 1 pick. He has not played well since Phoenix. And even when they made it to the chip,
Shout out Booker.
even if he made it to the chip, he really didn't do much. Yeah, you can blame Giannis. Giannis was a juggernaut at that time, and maybe, Phoenix should have built the wall, but they believed in Ayton, think that he could guard him one-on-one in the paint, and as you can see, that was baby food. Words to Shaq. So where do you – this is and these is my questions, right? Some of these players are getting paid so much money, and they can't contribute in nothing. My question is, do you blame the players, or do you blame the systems that they are in?
When you look at a guy like Ayton, you have to blame the player, because there's only so much, especially specifically this year. A guy like JJ Redick, I think everybody that watches the NBA knows how legit of a coach, even though he's young, you could tell how legit of a coach JJ Redick is. He's about his X's and O's. He's about his communication. He's about defining these players' roles. I mean, to have the balls to even tell LeBron, hey, you're our third option. When Luka and Reeves is out here, we need you in the corner. We need you setting these screens and rolling. We need you being that short roll guy and be that playmaker you always was. In transition, that's going to be your time to shine, to do what you always did, right? Fly up and down the court, get those easy buckets, get the crowd going. But JJ Redick had the balls to put LeBron as a third option consistently throughout the season until injuries occurred. So there's no way you're telling me, or anyone's telling me, that JJ Redick did not put DeAndre Ayton in the best possible chance to succeed, in the best possible position to succeed. And it's JJ Redick's fault. No. Ayton, we need you for rebounds. You're coming out here giving up 5 offensive rebounds in a row. You're tipping the ball up in the air, hoping somebody else grabs it. Mm-hmm. And I'm watching these games, and I'm not saying that it's all on Ayton in terms of why they lost to OKC. OKC is a great team up and down. But if you're the big man holding it down in the middle and you're playing 21 minutes getting 3 rebounds, you're playing 24 minutes getting 6 rebounds, the rebounds aren't the end-all, be-all. You're playing 27 minutes, scoring 3 points, going 1 for 7. I mean, these are things that are unacceptable, that
Terrible.
A coach can't do anything else. Can't do anything else but give you, more minutes and risk a bigger lead getting taken on them? I mean, come on. This is what gets you out the league. I've seen NBA players who've been role players tell guys like Ayton, hey, you were the number 1 pick. You have to get that out your head now.
Yes.
The time for teams to start scheming up around you and say, hey, we're going to put you on the low block and empty that side, it's over with. Yeah. You had that opportunity. You blew it. And that's fine. That don't define your career. But if you're going to sit here and listen to, these people that are in your circle or whatever you're doing, off the court, and you're letting these people tell you you're the man still, and you're believing them, I'm telling you, that's on you, man. And you could just see it out there on the court, the frustration he had, the lack of effort at times. I mean, he's the reason why he's going to be leaving LA. You know what I mean? If he gets released or traded or whatever happens, it's going to be because of him. There's not going to be anyone he could look at and be like, it's your fault.
Does he get picked up, though, from anybody else? I would pick Ayton up for a backup. As a starter, no. As a backup, I don't mind. It's not too many. You got to think about it, Keenan. There's not too many 7-footers out here that's not getting a job, even if you're a bust.
That's true.
Right?
There's a market out here. There's a market for him out here still. That's a fact.
And that's the sad part.
I used to love Ayton too. I used to have mad respect for Ayton, and I still do. But it's like,
it's terrible. Since he left Phoenix,
yeah,
he did nothing in Portland.
Nothing.
I don't even think we was talking about Ayton when he was in Portland. He only got talked about, honestly, because he's in the LA and he's back on national TV.
And exactly.
And we seen what happened in the playoffs. He didn't do nothing. But in the game in March, he did click with Luka.
Right.
Wasn't the points wise, but he was getting those 12 rebounds. He was defending the paint. He did score in clutch moments. And maybe, like I said, is it a system? Is it the players that's in there? When he's playing with Luka, he's having energy, but you can't let a 41-year-old out-rebound you, outplay you. And that just goes for the whole Lakers. I mean, like, Marcus Smart tried his best, but just wasn't good enough. And, yeah, I just feel like Ayton, I think, is over. I think the Lakers is over. They're going to blow up that team.
Yeah. I agree.
Talking about blowing up teams, if Knicks don't win, because I still have Detroit, Knicks, Eastern Conference, and I still have San Antonio and OKC.
Right.
But that's just my predictions. I'm not saying that's going to happen.
And that's the next thing we're about to get into right now.
I honestly feel like if the Knicks don't win, what do we do? If the Knicks don't win, do we blow it up?
You have to. And
okay.
And it goes back to that Mikal Bridges contract. You're going to put yourself in a situation where, all right, you've already given up 5 first-round picks for this guy.
5.
Now, let's say Detroit wins and they beat Cleveland and then they beat New York. This is your second team now in the Eastern Conference that has jumped you. You know what I mean? Obviously, Indiana last year, who had a magical run. Shout out Tyrese Halliburton.
Yes. He was definitely missed this season.
They take care of the Knicks in the conference finals. They're in the finals now. You know, Knicks is already looking like, man, Towns, like, what are we doing? Mikal, what are we doing? So if Detroit is to, which is, mind you, New York beat Detroit in the first round last year.
Mm-hmm.
So to run it back with the same squad again, to lose to the same squad that you beat last year, and Detroit didn't do nothing to revamp. They just developed and got better. So that would be a clear sign where, hey, we would be idiots to go back into next season and run it back. You know what I mean? I think New York has the players that are young enough and valuable enough still where they can flip those pieces for, you know, pieces that might work better out for them, where they could go all in for a Giannis, for example. They could do that. They almost did that during the regular season, if I'm not mistaken. So along with a bunch of other teams, but I think New York I think Giannis would love to play in New York. So
he keeps saying that he wants to go to Miami, low key. Like he likes the city of Miami. We wouldn't know what that looks like. And I'ma say this, even like watching Toronto Raptors, I didn't know who they had besides Scotty Barnes, and that's pretty much it. I didn't really know nobody.
Shout out
but
Scotty
then
Barnes.
come to find out, they was top 5 in defense. They gave Cleveland a run for their money. Yes, Buddy didn't play, but even when he did play, what's his name? Buddy that day glow.
Brandon Ingram, yep.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Even when he did play, he really wasn't giving them no impact.
Shout out Glorilla.
You dig what I'm saying? So now it's like, what do we do? This is what I'm saying. What do we do with these type of players that's getting $100 million contracts, but they're not even giving us $100 million conference worth, unless that's just the new 50 M's, 40 M contract.
Right.
Like, what are we doing? Because if we're just handing out money, we could handle out in better places. You dig what I'm saying? So that's about it. I don't know. Hopefully the Knicks get it done or whatever they got going on. But if they don't and they blow up that team, and if they do blow up that team, my next question is, why does the Celtics get so much hate when Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown did more than everybody in the Eastern Conference to this day?
That's another topic that's another topic that we can have a whole episode on too. I think there'll be a lot more to talk about with those guys once in a couple months when some moves happen and stuff like that. Obviously a lot of speculation right now with Jaylen Brown and, you know, us being in that Giannis party too. But I completely agree. I think Boston has been, if you had to pick one team that's been the best in the East for the past couple of years, I would say it's Boston, given the fact that we have 2 finals appearances. But I think that even with Boston, there's a kind of stagnant energy of, you know, we're playing a certain way and teams are starting to figure it out.
Yes.
Obviously, in every league, it's a copycat league, but especially in the NBA, if you're the best team in a conference, every other team is building to beat your team. I think last year in New York was a perfect example of that. When they got Bridges and stuff like that, they wanted to get those wings to match up with Boston's wings. And they did a good job doing that, taking those first 2 games in Boston. And that's another thing, too. Us losing those games in Boston at home, unacceptable. So I think it's little things like that rather than the whole outlook of the roster and the talent we have on the team, because our talent's undeniable. But when you look at the results of what's happening, it don't line up with the talent we got. So I think that that's a big reason why Boston does get the flack it does. And I think that the series against the Sixers this year was just a cherry on top. You know what I mean? Like I said, all credit to the Sixers for doing what they did. But if you told everybody in America, in the world, hey, Boston's up 3-1 against Philly, you would not, unless you're from Philadelphia, you're not saying with the serious face that there's a chance Boston loses that series. And even history shows. I think Philly was like 0-18, down 3-1. We were 32-0, up 3-1. So things like this is almost a sign from, you know, Mother Nature that, hey, something needs to change. You know what I mean? But we will have to see. Brad Stevens is a smart guy. He's an interesting guy. So I'm expecting a big splash this year, too.
Okay.
But for our last topic, we got another hot series, another 2-2 series, Detroit and Cleveland. Now, I know we both think that Detroit will win this series. But do we have to reconsider how legit of a number one option Donovan Mitchell is after the last game, him putting up 39 points in the second half alone and tying up the series? Or do we think that the guys that Cleveland has to go with Donovan Mitchell aren't enough of guys to, you know, make a legitimate comeback on this series? What do you think?
Paper-wise, it looks good. I don't think Cleveland has enough. Now, Donovan Mitchell had an amazing game. Horrible first half. He had an amazing second half.
43.
Boy on fire. But boy's capable of that, though. We're not going to act like he hasn't been doing that since Utah.
It's a fact.
So now my thing is, yes, you can do all that. All that glitz and glamour is beautiful. But can you make it to the semis? You never made it to the semis your whole career.
The conference finals.
That's what I'm saying. He never made it.
Yeah.
Never made it to the Western Conference Finals. Never made it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
It's a fact.
I don't feel like he has enough. I feel like him and James Harden is going to end up choking these next 2 games. But don't quote me, though.
And what do you think about Cade? I think Cade's been amazing all year, but
that is another question. Is Cade Cunningham a guy?
Now, right. In my opinion,
let's go to his stats.
Yeah, let's pull up ESPN.com first. In my opinion, Cade is electric. Cade is very legit. But if you're averaging 5.5 turnovers in a series, 4 games into the series, 5.5 turnovers.
His turnovers is bad. First game 5, second game 8, third game 5, 4, and 4. Yes.
It's indicative of me. It's indicative to me that you don't have it all down packed yet. Not yet. This guy's as close as it is to being a guy.
But also, though, Keenan, 39 minutes. First game, 39, 40% from 3. He had 3 boards, 6 rebounds, 5 turnovers. Yes, it makes it nasty. Second game, though, triple-double. 10 boards, 10 assists. He did have 8 turnovers.
I mean, come on, man.
That shit is a lot.
That's a bad ratio.
It is.
That's a bad ratio.
That cost the game. But then comes back. He had 3 boards, another double, 10 assists, 2 blocks. He had 5 turnovers, 25 points. But that's what I'm saying, though. Like, he's very high volume with the rock, though.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
So, like, he's not going to be perfect. Last game, he cut it down to 4 turnovers, 23, 7 assists. But I feel like, yes, he can cut down on the turnovers. But if he cuts down on the turnovers, do they win? Are they going 4-0 right now?
And I'll put it like this: the turnovers, I completely understand the volume and how much value he has on each possession and how much control. Like, that comes with the game. My concern, even bigger than the turnovers, is probably the 39.5% from the field. And it's not necessarily about the shot making of, okay, some shots just don't fall. I get that. But is he finding his spots? Is he finding comfortable enough spots? Is Detroit, is his coach, J.B. Bickerstaff, is he putting him in comfortable enough spots where sometimes he could just be like, hey, don't worry about facilitating. Just get to your spot. Hey, come post up right here. Hey, come dribble to this elbow and go to work. I think that's more concerning for me than those 5.5 turnovers. Another thing as well, because I don't want to put it all on Cade Cunningham, because we both agree how much he does for this team. That is unquestionable. You know what I mean? 24 and 10 and 6.
And he's having 10 assists. And with a guy like, what's his name, Isaiah Thompson?
Yeah.
Okay,
he's out on the floor.
Off his stats. He's 19 minutes, 66%, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had 4 turnovers. He had 4 points, 4 rebounds first game. 9 points, no turnovers, 5 assists, 7 rebounds second game. Mind you, Cade is getting 10 assists, and other people is getting this production. 10 points, 5 fouls, 2 steals. Yes, he's a defensive player, right?
Yeah.
But we also need offense. You got to think about it. Cade is bringing us W's with Tobias Harris as his second option.
I know. I know.
How is he not a guy?
It's because I think they're such a defensive first team.
Okay.
That the offense is so secondary to them where they kill teams defensively. Like you said, in Asar Thompson, he forces turnovers that get them out of transition, that get them to convert. You know what I mean? My biggest issue, maybe even bigger than Cade, Jalen Duren. I don't know what he's doing. I think he's another guy that's about to play himself. He's about to play himself out of a contract. I think Detroit will give him the benefit of the doubt, the fact that he's 22. He's young enough to be able to learn from these mistakes. This is his second year in the playoffs, his 3rd series overall. But you're looking at 9.5 and 7. I mean, this is worse than DeAndre Ayton.
This is nasty work.
This is worse. We was just talking about DeAndre Ayton. This is worse than DeAndre Ayton.
This is nasty work. And he got him 2-2.
Yeah. And this is a guy who averaged 19.5 and 10.5
season
for the regular season. Now this guy's averaging 9.5 and 7 boards. You want to talk about a drop off. I mean, and you would think that, okay, Orlando, I'm watching that series. Shout out Orlando. They're a physical team. They got strong front court players and they had a good game plan of, you could tell they were like, okay, we might let Cade get his, but we're not going to let his other guys get going. So they did a good job of stopping Duren. But I think a second series now with Cleveland, I'm watching that series, and I don't think Cleveland has as much of an emphasis on Duren as Orlando did on Duren. And his stats may be worse. They may be even worse. They are.
First game,
they're worse.
7 minutes, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, 2 steals, 8 points, 4 turnovers.
Like
second game,
2 rebounds?
That's it. We're just going to rebounds. We had 2 first, 4 second. Third game he had 10. And the last game he had 12. It's getting better.
Yeah, that was backwards. The first 2 games, it's getting worse.
Oh, it's getting worse. Oh,
it's getting worse.
My fault. I'm sorry. I'm reading down.
Yeah, the first game he had 12. The second game he had 10. The third game he had 4.
Yeah, it's getting
And
bad.
the last game he had 2
It's
rebounds.
getting bad. And this is what Kane's working with.
They're playing their second best player less.
The-
Okay, maybe Kane's a guy.
That's all I
Maybe
can say.
Kane's a guy.
If we're gonna
Maybe
look at
Kane's a
team
guy.
stats, like what, like, and he's
Kane's a guy.
getting 10
Kane's a guy.
assists. What is he
a guy.
working with?
He's a guy. He's just not. There's just no other guys other than Tobias Harris and shit. Even a Duncan Robinson, honestly, at this point, because
And Duncan, he's spare the moment type of guy, but
there's only so much he brings to the table. We know what Duncan Robinson's coming in the building and doing, and he's doing it.
yeah.
So we can't ask. We're not going to ask a Duncan Robinson for more. We're going to look at a Duran though and be like 9.5 and 7,
and he averaged 19 in a season.
and they're losing games by 7. They lost last game by 9. So we're literally looking at him like, yo, if you put up what you average, just what you average,
We win.
you win comfortably. You know what I mean?
So so like we said this earlier about Wemby and the Spurs, about playoffs. When the playoffs has come,
Yep.
the lights is bright.
Yep.
Do you feel like the lights is too bright for Jalen?
Right now, yes. Right now, yes. I think that he seemed like he's taking his hits and his lumps right now, and he's got to go in this offseason in deep thought in terms of like, hey, whatever he's doing off the court, whatever his people are telling him, they got to tell him something else because
Okay.
he can't drink the Kool-Aid no more. Whatever Kool-Aid he was drinking, I know he was a first-time All-Star this year. He's probably going to be All-NBA because it's a regular season award.
Mm-hmm.
But he got to stop drinking that Kool-Aid because what Jared Allen said too, these lights is looking too bright for you right now because this is your second series in a row and this is a contract year for you.
Yes.
And I don't think the money's a big issue because you're 22 and
You didn't get the contract, definitely.
you did so well over 82 games. But, hey, I think guys are looking at you in the locker room. People are texting you on the side like, hey, a Kate's pulling you to the side and being like, yo,
I need help.
it's got to be you.
I need help.
I'm not talking to Duncan. I'm not talking to Tobias. I'm not talking to Sar. I'm
But
talking to you.
But it's been Tobias
That's picked it up.
that's been second man. I'm here, and he was on his way out the league. To me,
Right. But this is a guy who's averaging 20, who had 20 first game, 21, 21, 16 last game. That's his worst game.
second consistent play on the team.
You know? He's stepping up his game in the postseason. Obviously, he's a veteran. You expect him to do that at this point, but like I said, Cade, he's a guy. He's a guy.
He's a guy. So now, right, since
Yeah.
we're looking at the stats, what does that say towards Donovan Mitchell and the system guy, James Harden?
Well, they smell blood in the water. And I think those are guys that we might be underrating them in terms of what they're capable of
Mm-hmm.
because of how many times they've been in these situations of a 2-2 series. Yes, have they come up on the short end on majority of their career? Probably. They've probably been in a lot of 2-2 series and didn't come out on top.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when you look at a team like Detroit and how they're playing and how they started up 2-0 and now it's tied 2-2, you're going into Detroit tomorrow, even though you're on the road, and you're like, hey, we beat these guys fair and square these last 2 games.
Yes, sir.
We take that punch in the mouth as a road team and we come out and in the second half like they have been the last couple halves, the last couple games in that second half, and they do what they do, they get to that comfortable bag. I don't know, man. I think this is another series where, hey, winner of Game 5 might win the series.
And just because they compared my dog to James Harden, I go to the numbers.
Yeah.
First game, 37 minutes.
Yeah.
He has 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 2 turnovers, 18. Solid stats. Not knocking it.
Mhm.
Second game. I'm lying. That was against the Raptors.
Oh, that was the Game 7. Yeah, I
I'm
see.
sorry.
Yep. Game 1, yeah.
Let me go to game 1. 100% from the free throw. Always been a great free throw shooter.
Yep.
8 boards, 7 dimes, 7 turnovers, 22 points.
Nasty.
Second game, he went from 22, then he had dropped down to 10. 4 turnovers, 1 steal, 3 assists, 6 rebounds. Picked it back up, 7 assists, 3 turnovers, 19. And then another, what he did, he had a double-double, 11 assists, 24 points.
Mm-hmm.
So can we say that James Harden isn't consistent? And if they get James Harden another 10-point game, is it an automatic loss?
If James Harden puts up another 10-point game this series, they're going to lose whatever game that is. That's a fact.
Exactly.
What I will say, though, since they got back home in Cleveland these last 2 games, Harden's played at the level he's needed to win games for the Cavs. And more importantly, for him not to get the blame for them losing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I think that he's clearly damn near a third option when you look at a guy like Mobley and what they do to feature him in the offense.
Yeah, but we know Mobley's not.
He's not there yet. I know.
Yeah, he's not playing.
He's not there
We
yet.
already had that conversation. Mobley's my guy. I don't even want to speak on Mobley.
Yeah.
That's my guy.
We seen that 1 rebound game in this series.
Yes.
We haven't forgot about that, Evan Mobley. We watched game 2.
We need you to.
We're gonna leave it at that.
To level up, brother.
But shout out James Harden for stepping his game up, because if James Harden's going 5 and 9 from the 3-point line, putting up 24 and 11 like he did last game,
Yes, sir.
you could argue, even though Donovan Mitchell went stupid in that second half, Donovan Mitchell only had 4 points in that first half. They were down 4 at halftime.
Which
Why?
is scary.
Harden came out to play. You know what I mean? So you
He
got to
picked
give
up what he was slacking, but then he took over the reins, and that's honorable. They got a good 1-2 punch, but if Detroit focus on one key part, right? Listen, Donovan Mitchell, you're gonna get yours. I don't even want Asar on you. We're gonna get James out of his game. And if we get him out of his game, even if you get 43 points, because even with that 43-point market, how much did they win by?
9. I know. They was down at halftime.
At home, though.
Yeah.
So what happens when they're back on the road?
I know.
Can they win in the Palace? I say no.
I don't think so either. I was surprised that Detroit looked in control during both games in Cleveland for a good period of time, and I think that they had, in each game, they had one little stretch where it looked too ugly for them to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They came out in halftime. Cleveland went on a 23-0 run. I mean, and you lost by 9.
And
you know
how
what I
many
mean?
times that's going to happen, Keenan?
0 more times.
That's
I
what
doubt.
I'm
You know what I
trying
mean?
to say. And why
I
is
doubt.
that? Once again, Cade Cunningham is a guy. We have to leave it at that until episode 2.
There we have it. Episode 1, the Purest Play Podcast. Once again, I'd like to shout out and thank my man Kev.
My God.
Coming through. Looking forward to another one.
Definitely.
We gonna catch y'all later.
Holla.
Yes, sir.
Go get these children.
Yes, sir.
Yo, whenever you ready, man, I go
She said I'm a diva, I told her me too. I complain if a guy like me don't get the cookie. Running these plays up like week over week, yeah, these settings. You think that I said it on rookie? Made me a profit and caught me a whip in the summer. You thought that I had me a bookie. Go ahead and poly, then hit me a sunny. The way that I'm sliding and calling me tissy. Feeling like Shohei, I'm out in the film and I placed me a bet and I made me a play. I take the over, then under, then green at 3 letters. My first name Trey. 3 in a row, I just got it. My Batman just go through the math and just add up the tally. I read the flow like I'm Hallie. 3 more of these racks and then I take a trip out to Cali. 2 underrated and 2 overhated. When I get creative, I feel like I'm Denny. Double or 50 when I place a wager. No, I can't afford to be betting for pennies. Gotta be patient, you won't be the king, but there's gonna be times where you gotta play possum. Sorta like when there's 8 NBA games and you smacking your ticket from Venice to Siakam. I told her me too, I complain if a guy like me don't get the cookie. Running these plays up like week over week, yeah, these settings. You think that I said it on rookie. Made me a profit and caught me a whip in the summer. You thought that I had me a bookie. Go ahead and poly, they hit me a celly. The way that I'm sliding, they calling me Tootsie.